are back for the final video, at least for this year, I think, from the 7 Deadly Sins challenge that was co-created by Jasmyn and Beanbaghagwag here on YouTube. Their information is down below, or some of their information is down below. So for week 6, the prompt was to journal and reflect on the experience as a whole individually, whatever your interpretation may be, I'm assuming. There were 3 questions that were given. I have them on a sticky note written in my wonderful handwriting. The first question was, what did I enjoy? There were a lot of things that I enjoyed about this challenge. I think the most important for me, apart from my personal growth and, you know, the good stuff and the ugly, good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, was the community that was strengthened, in my opinion, as a whole because of the challenge. I think that there may have been some people that were hesitant to participate because it was a brand new challenge and because of a little bit of the drama that surrounded the challenge. If I am to be quite frank with you all, the drama, the fact that there was some person that didn't like it made me want to do it more. And maybe this is my issue, I don't know. But I actually learned about the challenge because I followed Beanbaghagwag first, and then she had the live with Jasmyn, and she, like, I think she posted it on, like, I don't know, I think she posted it, or she somehow I ended up there watching it, and I was like, this seems really cool, I think I want to do it. And then I saw Justin's video as a response to what was going on, and I was like, wait, what? And it's just like, I think that's where wrath really showed up for me, like knocking on my door and saying, okay, we're going to do this, because it did take me off. I think there's a lot of reasons for that I don't feel that are necessary to put into this video, but it really lit a match under my ass. And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna do the video, like 100%. I'm gonna do the entire challenge, and I'm not gonna like half-ass it, like balls to the wall. You know, I'm just gonna fucking do it. And I'm so glad that I did. I think I was on the first, done barely with the first prompt or the second prompt, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this for all the sins, because imagine the growth, and, you know, obviously time's a factor with everything. But yeah, most definitely this is something to go through with all the sins. The amount of uncalled for shadow work that showed itself up throughout the entirety of this challenge was laughable, I guess, if you have a sick sense of humor. But I found myself having to put boundaries with things, people, even myself, and that made me uncomfortable in the best way possible, because once I set those boundaries, I automatically felt like I respected myself more as a person. And I think that has no price. That has no price whatsoever on it. Like, yeah, you wish you could go to the store and just buy a little bit more of, you know, self-courage, a little bit more of self-love, self-appreciation. But, you know, that's not how this works. Anyways, yeah, if you go back to my week 1 video, I give a little bit more about, or week 2 video, whatever, just watch them both. How wrath showed up for me, and it had ugly crying in it, because I had to part ways with someone that I thought that I was always going to be having in my life all the time. And it was like, if it wasn't for the wrath that that person had provoked, then I would not have ever set those boundaries. And I wouldn't feel proud of myself for doing so. So, you know, I'm very grateful for that. And before somebody comes on here and tries to say that, oh, like, you basically got mad and got triggered, and so you like put up a boundary because you got mad, like, no, this was a long time coming. I just couldn't see myself doing it because I was used to always telling myself that I had to take certain things, because if I didn't, it meant that I was weak, and it meant that I was stupid, because if I was smart, then I would find a way to like finesse the situation so that it could work out somehow, and I wouldn't have to confront people. And confronting people can be very daunting, especially if they're people that you grew up with or that you love. I can proudly say that I'm pretty good at doing that with like my parents, and now more so my sibling, but it was very difficult. I think I'm just like fucking ranting and rambling now. So I'm just gonna go on to the next question. The next question is how to better the challenge. I'm having a really hard time with that question, because how do you make it better? Like, would you make it longer? How does that make it better? I don't know. Yeah, that's a hard one for me. I'm sure there's ways that someone can make it better, but I think better is very subjective, also based on people's personal practices. I think it was just the right amount of creative freedom that was given with a prompt. I think if we add more things to it, it can get a little more daunting, and maybe more people would be less inclined to participate because it's longer or it's more intricate. I don't know. I mean, I guess you can add like cool little yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. The next question is, was the ritual effective? And this is my favorite out of the 3 questions, because this is what I kind of wanted to make the video for, was to talk about my ritual. Now, I did do my ritual on this past full moon, and originally I had not planned it. I think I had I already knew what I was going to do, generally speaking, but the small details I hadn't fully crafted out. Me personally, when I'm going to do a ritual, I like to have an outline or a skeleton. I've used before that word. I've used that word before. And that's kind of where I was fumbling a little bit. I also was lacking just wanting to do things in general, so I didn't want to force it, and I just kind of let that idea sit and like cook on its own for a few days. And before you know it, it's like the day of the full moon. And I say day because it was in the morning, and I just started thinking, like, if I am going to create an entity, like fully birth it, then it makes sense for it to be on the full moon completion. So I think I just have to do it. And the moment that that got into my head, it was like, okay, and then I'm going to do this first and do this first, and this is the order, and this is how I'm going to make this happen, and then I'm going to do this, and then this is going to happen. And I wrote like a little rough draft of scribbles on my working book of shadows, which is like the sloppy version of my book of shadows because it's full of scribbles. And I really liked the way that it was shaping up, and that's when I was like, for sure I'm doing it tonight. Now, after the ritual, because I did the first feeding in the ritual, after the ritual, I was like, okay, now I need to make sure that I actually use what I created, because I basically, I guess you could call it a contract. I basically said I'm going to feed the lava hydra rot. I'm going to feed them once a week. And then I had set out the different methods of feeding, but I was like, I need to make sure I feed them. And if I run out of incense before, like, I need to make sure I feed them wrath. and how am I doing that, you know? So I had to just constantly be aware of my emotions, and the moment I felt triggered by something or got a little angry, like that was the cue to start seeing that vessel that we had created so that I could pour that in there. And it did require me to like sit still and close my eyes with that anger so that I could basically funnel it in there, put it in there. And that was something that I think would have been useful for me to have since I was a young child. Because I had to sit with my anger for like an extra few seconds, and knowing that this was now the building of an energy that was going to eventually work in my favor made it an almost pleasant experience. And then putting it into that vessel and saying, okay, I'm using this to feed an entity that is going to transmute this for me so that I can use it when I need it. It was a game changer for me. And that happened maybe like, I don't know, a few times during the week, not a lot. And it was just fucking cool. Like, it was really fucking cool. And it made me really reflect on how many times I had gotten angry and had not experienced it fully to release it so that it wasn't festering inside me, number one. And number two, how much of that angry energy I had wasted and had not put into something. And it just was, that was another source of like anger, but we already know what we're doing with our anger, so that's good. But it was a beautiful challenge. I think if I'm gonna reiterate anything at this point before I finish the video, it's gonna be that I really feel like everybody that participated in the challenge, almost even before doing any of the actual like poem writing and creating of like the incense or the perfume or the oils or the effigy or even writing the ritual, I think the moment that they signed up for that challenge, something was stirred big time. Because almost everybody's videos that I've watched up to this point, and I still have to go through videos, but everybody's videos that I've watched up to this point has expressed the depth of what this has done for them, what this challenge has done for them, and that speaks volumes to me. I'm forever grateful to Jasmyn and to Beanbaghagwag, because it was literally a challenge. Like, it was a challenge, but in the best way possible. It really made me get creative in ways that I hadn't done in a really long time, and it made me want to do more of those things in my craft, and it provided some shadow work, and it made me a stronger, better person. I can't see how you wouldn't get those things out of participating in this challenge. Oh man, but yeah, I think I am going to end this video now. I think I've been chatting long enough. I'll probably put up some updates just in general about my life later, but yeah, it's been a fucking ride.